becoming more indispensable even than it was in the past. It occurred to me that if Bob Woodward, who really gives us a lot of information in his new book based on classified documents that he was shown in the administration, I would urge him to put those documents into WikiLeaks anonymously, put them on the line. Let us all read the documents and form our own opinion. Then we'd have something like the Pentagon Papers of Afghanistan, which these documents will not be. It remains really to come out, the higher level documents, and I hope people who have access to those in the White House, in the Pentagon, but in the CIA, in the State Department, will take advantage of WikiLeaks, as a matter of fact, and give us the information we need in order to end these wars.
Now, in the last release of documents, there were 91,000 documents,
of which they've withheld so far 1 out of 5, 15,000 for damage control. WikiLeaks has not yet released those. They're working over them.
Which is the point I wanted to make. Released around 75,000. Yeah. That WikiLeaks is withholding documents concerned about issues.
Moreover, they let the Pentagon know what they were releasing. They gave them the files and code to them and asked them actually to identify people that they hoped to be redacted from those. Now, the Pentagon refused, meaning they prefer to bring charges, and both in court and in the press, of danger, rather than actually to protect these people, showing the usual amount of concern they have over other humans.
Has the same been done with these 400,000 documents?
Yes, that's why they're going over them now. They know what's coming out, and they have every ability, if people are endangered, which actually is in question to this point. The fact that there's been no damage up till now really strongly questions the claims that were made earlier, and as I say, passed on by most of the mainstream press very uncritically, that there was danger. But if there was, it may well have been in those 15,000, which WikiLeaks is properly going over still.
So what you're saying is that WikiLeaks has let the Pentagon know precisely what it is about to release?
To my understanding, they have. I'm not in the process, but I understand that they've said that they did make them aware of what it is and have invited them to cooperate in protecting those names. But as I say, the Pentagon, if there are such names, has preferred to make charges.
And is they releasing them with other papers, as they did last time, the New York Times,
yes,
Der Spiegel,
yes.
and the Guardian?
I must say, I give credit to the Times, as I understand it, and Der Spiegel and the Guardian, who are resisting, as did the Times 40 years ago, the demand or the request that they desist and that they return and that they stop serving their function to protect the public.
On
they're
this
doing it again, and it's much
right?
to their credit, and I appreciate it. I've waited 40 years for release on this scale. I think there should have been something on the scale of the Pentagon Papers every year. How often do we need this kind of thing? We haven't seen it. So I'm very glad that someone is taking the risk and the initiative to inform us better.
Well, I mean, it would seem to me, and I think this is an important point to make, as a journalist who has many times not provided the subject of the articles I'm going to write a complete view of what I have. It seems to me that WikiLeaks has gone to extraordinary lengths to allow the Pentagon to respond and to signal to it, look, if there's anything in particular here that you think endangers an individual or an operation, let us know.
They haven't given a veto to the administration, as far as I'm concerned, of anything that they might raise an alarm about, but they have said, bring it to our attention and we'll responsibly look at that, and they are redacting names, yes.
Well, I want to thank you for being with us, Dan Ellsberg, and I guess you could compliment the New York Times for something else as well, because now they no longer say, after decades, the man who claimed he gave us the Pentagon Papers, but they actually admit you did.
They've actually acknowledged at last that I was the source. They're very reluctant to tell their sources, but since I was the one who was prosecuted, I claim special relation to them on that.
Daniel Ellsberg was a high-level official in the Pentagon and is the country's most famous whistleblower. He released the Pentagon Papers. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. Dan Ellsberg now heads to London. He'll be at the WikiLeaks news conference that releases, well, what we believe is something like 400,000 documents.